agenda.
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to accept the agenda as presented. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Addishell.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Public hearing. Anyone wishing to address council may do so. That's for the thousands of people in the audience. I thought maybe we'd have a few takers. Okay, we'll move along to administrative reports. Mayor Wellman.
I have just a couple announcements to make. Of course, everybody involved with the Veterans Day Parade, I appreciate their help. Street Department, Fire Department, of course, Police Department, Fire Department, and Street Department. So it's like, they're the ones that mainly have to come in, work extra hours and that type of thing, so it'll get a little chilly out, but I appreciate all their help and the committee that helped out on that. We kind of formed a small committee this year so we celebrate the armistice of 100 years from the World War I, so it worked out really well, and everybody's pretty pleased with it. Warren Davison was here. Talked about it several times, but we finally got it done, and it worked out really well, so appreciate everybody's help. Holiday Horse Parade is over, worked out well. I guess there's like 10,000 people there. It was a big show, 93 entries. It worked out well, and of course, all of our street and PD and everybody helped out again to make it go as great as it always has been. So, a couple other things. I want everybody to know, Garst Museum has their holiday open house this December 2nd, 1 to 4 o'clock, and it's free admission. So, and they'll have a silent auction for some paintings that they have in there of local barns and landscapes. So, and then one other thing, don't forget this is Small Business Saturday, and that all came about because of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So in between there is Small Business Saturday. And it's to make sure everybody supports the small business. Go to your local businesses and support them by buying things, and you get into raffles. You have the Win the Window contest, which is coming up, sponsored by Second National Bank, and all kinds of coupons. And every time you buy something from a local business, then they put a ticket in there for you might draw something, win some cash. So that's pretty cool. And I heard a little thing today that I didn't really know. This is the 225 years of what is it? General Green that not General Green, but they named Greenville.
Nathaniel Green.
Is that right? Nathaniel Green. Yeah. So it's kind of a neat little thing in history. I thought it'd be kind of cool to 225 years ago. So wow. That's it. I passed.
Okay, thank you. Safety Service Director, Mr. Garrison.
Good evening, Council. Thank you, Mr. Council President. A few things to share with you this evening. Start out by talking about our North Broadway project. There's 3 different phases to the North Broadway project to bring you all up to speed. The first phase will consist of curb replacement along with some road widening. Will also include the installation of a new traffic signal at the intersection of Harmon and North Broadway. So that'll be phase 1, and we are really close to presenting legislation to council that would give us the authorization to bid that project after the first of the year. There have been some additions to that first phase of the project, and those are mainly due to the new EPA lead rules that have went into place over the last year or so. Some of those requirements are causing us to replace the service lines on our side. So what that means is that as the service lines come off of the main, they'll need to be replaced up to the edge of the right-of-way, or what we call the curb stop. And then we also, like we did on the 4 Schweitzer Street project, we will have to provide every homeowner with a lineal foot price that they could get their service line, their portion of the service line continue that replacement on into their house. And the goal is to eradicate all of the lead lines in the ground, as that has caused some problems over the years. So with all that, that's the first phase. The second phase will be a grant that we received from ODOT called the Transportation Alternatives Grant. And that second phase will replace all of the sidewalks from the circle all the way out to Russ Road. And that's mainly what I want to talk about this evening, as this week I have received the contract from ODOT, and along with the contract is the invoice, and they would like a signed contract that would be approved by resolution, and a check for $103,400. This money has been appropriated at the beginning of the year in our permissive fund for this project. Just making you aware, if there's no objections, that I would like to have this legislation presented to council at the next meeting. Any objection to that?
No.
And then just to follow up on North Broadway, the third phase will be what we call the urban paving project, or the urban paving program through ODOT. And this is a program that's available through ODOT to the cities in the state of Ohio, in any city that has a state highway that operates within the city. ODOT will pay 80% of the repaving, and the city has to pay 20%. So that project and contract will be coming later in 2019. But it is our hope that by the end of the construction year in 2019, the North Broadway project will be completed. So, any questions on that?
You brought up the water lines,
Yes, sir.
lead water lines.
Yes, sir.
Does the water department know where all these are, as far as which lines are lead and which ones aren't?
Yes, sir. We spent time and used a hydro excavator, and we uncovered every water line on North Broadway. And there's a simple test. You can buy a test kit from your local home improvement store, and you rub on it, and if it changes colors, it identifies that you have lead. So we hydro excavated all of the lines, and it was by period, if you will, by the age of the construction. So you knew pretty much from anything from the circle to North Main, from North Main on out to, and I forget what that designated area is, but pretty much there was a stopping point, and then any house built further north did not contain lead. But a good, I would say, well over 2/3 of the homes have lead lines. So, any other questions on North Broadway? All right. We've had prior discussions about additional hiring in our police department. And I made it known to council that we have an officer who will be leaving January the 7th of 2019, which gives us a short period to get his replacement. And we thought that at the last council meeting, I told you that we were going to be testing for, or giving another test for, the hiring of a patrol officer. However, one of our candidates on the test, reached out to the PD and said that even though he had taken another job in a different municipality, he was interested in a position with the city of Greenville. So they continued the interview process, and we would like to make a conditional offer of employment to this second candidate off of our current test. But to do that, we would like to request a temporary increase in the strength ordinance so that we could hire this individual in December. And then when the individual at the PD resigns his commission, first part of January, this person has already been through the process, and we're at least a good 30 days jump, hopefully 30-day jump on the hiring process. Would council have any objections to the administration bringing that legislation to the next council meeting authorizing a temporary change in the strength ordinance for the hiring of a patrol officer.
Sounds good.
You want that at the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Are you still going forward with the test for the 50?
That will be, yes, currently that test is on.
Okay.
But to make any future hires off of that test, we would need a change in the strength. At the last council meeting, council authorized the purchase of 4 pickup trucks and snowplows for the street department. There was some conversations after the meeting, and we were able to garner more information on Wednesday after the council meeting, but it's been determined that the current state contract for GMC pickup trucks expired right after, or that week of the council meeting. Therefore, the contract is not being honored, and we cannot buy trucks at the state contract price. However, we would like to proceed with purchasing 1 truck and 1 snowplow. I believe that legislation is on the agenda for this evening, but just wanted to clear up any confusion as to why the number was 1 instead of 4 as we had discussed at the last council meeting. So, any questions on that?
Where would the truck be purchased in?
Here locally.
In Greenville?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Now,
was-
later on, will we have the opportunity to get in on the rest of them, or,
Yeah, we just have to wait because we're at the, well, and I'm not even sure, I can't even say that we're at the end of the model because the 2019s are already out. So why there's not a state contract, I can't answer that question, but until the new contract comes out. The money is appropriated, the money is in the CIP. However, without making the purchase in 2018, that money will remain in the CIP and would need to be reappropriated obviously in 2019 at some point when we're ready to make that purchase, and we'll present that legislation at the proper time. So, and then also following up on the last council meeting, you all have a letter that I've put in front of you. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to read that. When the committee report and legislation for appropriations, when that was read, that was past my report, so I did not feel that it was proper for me to interject any opinions at that point. But the decision was made to remove a piece of equipment, and that piece of equipment was, the name of that is a Bomford Flailbot remote-controlled mower. And the purchase price on that mower, I believe, right, you had $97,000. It might be just a little bit less than that, but using round numbers, $97,000. So it was determined that maybe that the city did not need, or that the cost of the piece of equipment was too expensive. And I believe Mr. Whitaker made a comment that maybe Ryan Delk should come back with more information. And unfortunately, Ryan's not able to be with us this evening, but he did sit down and compiled a letter, and we too were able to have conversation with various folks from ODOT, and also one who already owns this piece of equipment in a municipality that's local. We actually had a couple of different conversations with individuals at ODOT. But I would just like to, I'm not sure if I'm going to read this whole thing to you, or you've had the opportunity to read it, or maybe just to hit on some high points. But during the last council meeting, and this letter comes from Ryan Delk, during the last council meeting, council reversed the Finance Committee's decision to recommend the purchase of Flailbot remote-controlled embankment mower with brush attachment. Statements were made by certain members of council who did not think that the city needed such a mower and that this purchase was not warranted. It was noted at the meeting that some members would like more information concerning the Flailbot mower and its potential use within the city. The purpose of this letter is to give council better understanding of the reasoning why I feel there is a need for a remote-controlled ditch mower. Keep in mind, the main reason for purchasing this mower is to mow steep slopes. Currently, the mowing of slopes is performed by using zero-turn mowers and a tractor with a rotary cutter. We also refer to that as a batwing. Manufacturer specifications state that a zero-turn mower should only be used on slopes less than 15 degrees. Although this equipment works great on flat ground, it is not the safest way to maintain our sloped areas. Currently, the street department is responsible for mowing approximately 200 acres a week, and that is in our parks, our right-of-ways, and our retention ponds. Street department also mows 100 additional acres per month at the city landfill and waterways. Ryan has calculated that approximately 28 acres of this area that just was noted has slopes ranging anywhere from 30 to 45 degrees. And then Hay and I both went out and we took some pictures of areas to include in this letter. So the proposed unmanned ditch mower would mow up to a 55-degree area safely. A member of council stated that an attachment for a skid loader to mow these slopes would be less expensive. Numbers thrown out were anywhere from $6,500 to $5,500. Presumably, this may have been a better option than a remote control mower. However, the city's current skid loader is only rated to operate at 18.4 degree slope, and that is to operate safely, and that is per the manufacturer's specifications. And I believe page 3 of this document includes the specifications on our skid loader. Jerry Rush, who is our salesman from Ohio Cat, Ryan did reach out to Jerry, and Jerry's statement that the two attachments in question, one would being a finish mower and another being a brush cutter, would be $20,000 a piece. So that would be $40,000 if we were to choose to buy those two attachments. Ryan had the opportunity to speak with Dwayne Byers from ODOT District 7. Dwayne is the equipment manager and is responsible for purchasing all of the equipment within District 7. According to Dwayne, the district owns one Alamo remote control mower. It is approximately 5 years old. Said the said mower was involved in a couple incidents. One incident, and both of them were related to operator error. One incident caused a broken light, another one caused a broken weld on the front. He did say that the mower was rebuilt in 2018, but this was regular maintenance, and the maintenance was due to the mower being 5 years old and the amount of hours that it had operated, and the fact that their budget for 2018 would not allow them to purchase a new mower, as that would have been his choice. But instead of buying a new one, they worked on the old one and refurbed it. We did have a conversation about the extended tracks. It says due to the age of his Alamo mower, the option to get extended tracks, where the tracks actually extend out from the body of the mower, that was not an option, but did state that that would be a good option, as it provides more stability for the mower. So that was our conversation with ODOT, and then we also had the opportunity today to speak with Brian Brookhart, and Brian is the Piqua Public Works Director. And they purchased a flail-bot mower, one exactly like what we would like to get, earlier this year. And he had rave reviews for the mower, and I'm going to share a couple of those with you. The first comment that he said out of his mouth was, "It should have done it years ago." Also sees that the benefit of having the different attachments is just that, a benefit. It's not just a $97,000 mower. If you buy the attachments for it, you can turn it into various pieces of equipment, such as a stump grinder, snow plow, snow blower. It is a universal piece of equipment, again, as long as you buy the attachments. Another benefit was, when he uses the flail-bot mower, he doesn't have to put an employee on the slope. And that goes right into letter D there. He said, even if the mower were to flip and it were to cost some repairs, you can replace a piece of equipment. You can't replace an employee. He stated, and was very gracious, depending on this conversation and what council would choose, he was very gracious, and if he said it once, he said it a half dozen times, come to Piqua and see how it operates. Come to Piqua, he said, I'd even let your council operate it. And they still have some areas that they need to take care of, and he'd be more than happy to take you out and show you how that it works. And then the other thing that I found interesting, I'm not going to put Law Director Brand on the spot, but he did, and his comment was that one of the biggest pushes that he had to purchase this piece of equipment came from his law director. And because of the fact that it reduced the city of Piqua's risk to injury, and felt that because this type of equipment was available, it would reduce the city's overall liability. And stated that he had done a lot of research. There are several of these remote-controlled units on the market, and just felt that Bomford was outperformed the rest of them, and felt that he's very confident in his purchase, that he purchased the right piece of equipment for them. And then the last thing that he left us with was that at least on slopes, it definitely mows quicker than what you can on a zero-turn mower. And I'll get into that in just I'll expand on that in just a little bit when we look at some of these pictures. It's also in this letter. And then just a brief paragraph about the 6-inch brush cutter. This is the second attachment that we would like to purchase with this unit. And this would have to do with exactly that, brush clearing. And Brian had stated that they took this out and, it just chewed right through anything 5-inch or smaller. So we have areas like right now that are at the bottom of our retention ponds, whether it out on Wagner, whether it be on Lease Avenue, there by Kroger's. Out at the landfill, there's a couple pictures of some brush that's been growing, and we've not maintained around the pit for the sewage solids, the waste pit. So with all that being said, Ryan finishes or closes by saying, we try to perform the mowing in the most safe and efficient way possible with the equipment that we have. They've definitely had their share of close calls. He says no incident. I would share with you that at least in my tenure here, we've had one incident where a park worker put one of our mowers in the pond and had to be care flighted. Now, I don't know if that would be an area that we would use use this type of mower or not, but it just goes to the fact that zero-turn mowers can get away from you, and they can get away from you even more when you're on a steep embankment. I don't know if you probably haven't, but to go out and walk the steep embankment of the landfill, it's very bumpy, it's very rough, it's not smooth mowing like you would be in your yard. And all of those little bumps, twists, and turns, when you're on a zero-turn mower, can throw your balance off, it can jerk you with the levers. Again, we just collectively, we feel that we know that this is an expensive piece of equipment, but for the overall safety of our employees, we feel that it is a piece of equipment that's needed. So page 3 talked about the specifications of our existing skid loader. Those are highlighted. And then page 4 is just a couple of pictures for those of you that may not have seen the video. And the only thing I'll kind of call out on page 4, and you can see it from behind, you see how those tracks of the piece of equipment are really close to the body of the mower. However, if you turn the page and we look at the bottom, you can see how the tracks have extended out. Again, this is how that's what allows this piece of equipment to safely mow those steep embankments, and is a little bit different than what the mower that ODOT has. Sorry. And then I believe the last 2 pages kind of just depict some areas that we would, if we had this piece of equipment, areas that we would utilize. Unfortunately, pictures sometimes don't do justice as to what the true angles are and the steepness. But if you're out, the first picture on the top there is the detention pond next to Kroger's. Even if we had what's called a ditch bank mower that would attach to one of our tractors or to our loader. It would be very difficult to mow this area in particular because of the guardrail. You just can't reach out, reach over, and the fact of how the elevation difference from the top to the bottom of the pond, any kind of an extension on a loader or a tractor is not going to reach that. So at some point, you're going to be on unlevel ground trying to maintain that. And right now, yes, we do that with zero-turn mowers, and I would tell you we are operating outside of the specifications of what the mower manufacturer says. And then the bottom picture is the detention pond that's behind Kroger's, out by North Park. Again, you see the overgrowth in the middle that eventually will break loose, clogs up drain tile. With this particular brush cutter, we would be able to get in and maintain that. Then the last page, 2 areas out at the landfill. The picture on the top depicts the angle or the slope along 127. And then the bottom one, you can see that's an area that we have not been able to maintain. Actually, there's a little bit of area at the bottom that you can tell that the brush has been cut. That was because Fitzwater came out and DP&L had contracted with them to do line clearing so that they had access to get in and work on the overhead electric lines. So that's why that was done. So this is our proposal back to council after the last meeting and asking maybe for some more information. This is the information that we would like to pass along. We feel that this piece of equipment will reduce our risk, our liability, and protect our employees. And it's hard to put, it's easy to put a cost on repairing a piece of equipment, whether it is gas that gets in the oil or whether it is a weld that breaks or a headlight that gets busted off. Sure, we can replace that, and those types of incidences happen on a zero-turn mower. But a zero-turn mower is manned. And I would just ask council, what, can we put a value on having someone on there, and then if they were to get hurt? So, maybe asking council this evening to take another look at this, whether that be in a committee assignment that's specific to the purchase of this piece of equipment, or whether it's a general discussion this evening. But I guess that is my request, that we would take a second look at this.
I would like to see it work.
Okay.
You said, what was, Mr. Wright, you said what you'd like to see it?
I would like to see it.
Okay.
So we obviously, we saw the video at our committee meeting, and I think it would be repetition to send it back to committee. We got some information at the last meeting that seems to be contradictory to what you found out. And the fact that they said they had 2 mowers and they only have 1, where did that come from? So with that being said, I think that we should just go ahead, and Ryan did an excellent job in presenting the information that we needed. I thought it was well done, well presented, pictures, getting the information from Brian Burkhart and also from the advice of the ODOT people that, what their experience was with a piece of equipment similar. What the law director proclaims, that maybe they should have bought this a long time ago because of the safety aspect, and safety's first. We got to protect our people, and putting them at risk to be cutting lawn, to be cutting grass. I mean, there's other things than money, Granted, it's a nice cost, but I think that we would more than get our money's worth and more than reduce our risk by getting such a piece of equipment. So I would like to just see if maybe we could recommend that legislation be prepared for maybe next meeting, and let's go ahead and get this thing.
Further comments or discussion?
Would using this machine cut out any labor cost of any kind?
Well, I think Ryan had in his, under the next to last paragraph, talked about the brush cutting. You know, right now, if we have to go out and clear an area, we're either using weed whackers, chainsaws, we're sending our part-time employees out there in numbers. Whereas if you had this piece of equipment, you could go out and do it with one person and obviously the piece of equipment. The other thing, in talking to the public works person from Piqua, you know, he stated that just in the simple speed of mowing, when you're mowing that embankment with a zero-turn mower or whatever you're using, you're going slow and you're being very careful because you know, you don't want to flip it. However, with this piece of equipment and its stability, you can just kind of just go through it like you were on flat ground. So he felt that the gentleman from Piqua felt that there was some savings. You know, I don't know that you can put a number to it to say that it's going to pay for itself over a certain period of time. But there is certainly an efficiency factor, and just you know, just from the sheer numbers to sometimes it takes to accomplish the job at hand. You know, being able to send one person out versus four. There's a savings in that 4 other people or 3 other people can be out doing something else.
So what would be the end cost for the mower and the attachments you're speaking
The
about?
97.
The 97
That-
is the
that's
whole
a
cost?
that's what the flail mower and then the brush cutter that does up to 5-inch.
When was the last time they mowed the landfill out there on 127? Never?
I don't know what area you're referring to.
Picture. Do that in the landfill along 127.
That's mowed generally a couple times a year.
Okay.
So I mean, that's not Ramco, that's the land. I don't have a picture of the industrial park.
No, it says landfill along 127 picture. That's what you're looking at right now, I think.
Right, so those are the white, used to have turbines on top of them.
Yeah.
That, the landfill, because of the EPA, we have to keep that mowed, that top mowed, and the sides.
Do any members of council object to having the legislation prepared for the next meeting, and then it can be considered at that time? Then that way, you know, we can perhaps move forward or stop whatever we're doing, but we'll have a definitive answer at that time.
Kurt, one other
Um,
question.
Anyone? Okay, go ahead.
Kurt, one other question. Along the creek along River Street, would that be able to cut that brush back some?
Absolutely. And along Wilson Drive
Okay.
and through the main park on both sides, on the Memorial Hill side and the Wilson Drive side. And that would be one area that I think that for the aesthetics of our community, it'd be nice to kind of clean up a little bit.
Okay, so I would ask that we have that legislation be prepared and bring it back then, at the next council. Okay?
And with that, Mr. Council President, happy Thanksgiving to all, and I will pass.
Thank you. You sure that isn't a Benford 2000 instead of a, you remember Tim?
I do.
Man
Tim?
Oh, yeah.
Always had the Benford 6000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was bigger than any. That was good. Okay, thank you, sir. Law Director, Mr. Brand.
Thanksgiving blessings to all. I pass.
Thank you. And City Auditor, Mrs. Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Other than wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving, I pass also.
Thank you. We have nothing under committee reports this evening, and we will continue on with ordinances and resolutions. And the first we have is supplemental appropriations ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018. There has been a change to the original summary that was put out. And you do have a copy of that in front of you on the agenda. This ordinance authorizes appropriations to the general fund for dismissed court cases law director in the amount of $2,000. These funds are needed to cover additional court costs through December 31st, 2018. Salaries Civil Service Commission in the amount of $1,000. These funds are needed to cover additional testing in the month of December 2018. Salaries Police Department in the amount of $170,000. These funds are needed to cover additional salaries through December 31st, 2018. And Salaries Municipal Building in the amount of $1,000. These funds are needed to cover additional building repairs through December 31st, 2018. And to the Police Pension Fund for police pension in the amount of $20,000. These funds are needed to cover additional pension payments through December 31st, 2018.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Excuse me, call the roll.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018.
Motion to adopt this ordinance?
Motion by Mrs. Howdishell to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Next, we have transfer ordinance.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. This ordinance allows a transfer to the Waterworks System Revenue Fund from New Equipment Water Department in the amount of $35,000 to Equipment Maintenance Water Department in the amount of $35,000. This transfer is needed to cover additional repairs due to water line breaks and the Brethren Retirement Community Project.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville.
Move to adopt the ordinance?
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
And next, we have an ordinance authorizing the hiring of a part-time street sweeper operator.
An ordinance authorizing the hiring of a part-time street sweeper operator. This ordinance authorizes the street department to hire a part-time street sweeper operator as soon as possible for an indefinite period. This employee shall be compensated at a grade 6 pay level, shall not exceed 1,664 hours annually, and should average approximately 32 hours per week.
Move to suspend the rules and read this ordinance by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the hiring of a part-time street sweeper operator. An ordinance authorizing the hiring of a part-time street sweeper operator.
Move to adopt this ordinance?
Motion by Mrs. Howdishell to adopt the ordinance. Discussion.
How much is that grade 6 pay? Is it it's per hour, correct?
Correct. It is an hourly rate, yes.
Further discussion. Motion is to adopt, correct?
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Next, we have an ordinance establishing personnel within the City of Greenville, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
An ordinance establishing personnel within the City of Greenville, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. This ordinance removes one water department treatment plant operator and adds one assistant superintendent of water plant and distribution to the strength ordinance. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
An ordinance establishing personnel within the city of Greenville, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. An ordinance establishing personnel within the city of Greenville, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Motion to adopt the emergency clause?
Motion by Ms. Haudashelt to adopt the emergency. Discussion? Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt the ordinance with the emergency clause. Discussion? Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
And next, we have an ordinance establishing wages and salaries for various employees of the city of Greenville and declaring an emergency.
An ordinance establishing wages and salaries for the various employees of the city of Greenville not covered by wage agreements and declaring an emergency. This ordinance establishes wages for the positions of part-time street sweeper and assistant superintendent of water plant and distribution. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules and read this ordinance by title only, second and third time.
Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second, and third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
An ordinance establishing wages, salaries for the various employees of the city of Greenville not covered by wage agreements and declaring an emergency. An ordinance establishing wages, salaries for the various employees of the city of Greenville not covered by wage agreements and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Next, we have an ordinance establishing, ordinance for this authorizing safety service director to enter an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle for a street department.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle to be used by the street department. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to enter into an agreement with Hiddle Buick GMC Incorporated to purchase a 2019 GMC Sierra truck for the street department.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second, third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle to be used by the street department. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle to be used by the street department.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion.
I'm glad to,
Oh, go ahead.
glad to see that's bought locally from Hiddles here in Greenville. That'll pass.
Further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
And should be the last one, right? Resolution authorize the safety service director to enter an agreement to purchase a snow plow package for the street department.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a snowplow package to be used by the city street department. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to enter into an agreement with Kaleido Truck Equipment Incorporated to purchase a snowplow package for the street department.
Move to suspend the rules and read this resolution by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read your, resolution by title, second, third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a snowplow package to be used by the city street department. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a snowplow package to be used by the city street department.
Move to adopt this resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Haudashelt to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Haudashelt.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Wow. Concludes our ordinances and resolutions for this evening. What do we have here? Nothing under old or new business, either one. So communications, what do you have?
Monthly reports were received from the fire department and the transit department. These reports were distributed to council.
Um, For council's edification, whatever it's worth, I attended the Transit Advisory Committee meeting the other day. Some members of the community are on the Transit Advisory Board as well as city administration. And the Transit Advisor was lamenting the problems with the new computer software that's mandatory that she changed to that has all kinds of problems in it. So it's causing some difficulties with scheduling people, I understand, but it's no fault of the transit people, and it's like, if you want our money, you're going to use our software. And so we're kind of hoodwinked into one of those bad situations, and after considerable protesting, or what should I say, expressing concerns about the operation, was finally told, well, just, if you don't like it, we'll just cut your funding. So that's the way some of our agencies work. So that's really unfortunate for our transit riders and the good job that they do at the transit department. So makes it difficult. Seeing nothing further under communications, we'll call down the council, please.
Mr. Godwin?
Make a motion to excuse the absences for this month.
Okay, motion by Mr. Godwin to excuse the absences for the month of November. Discussion. Call the roll.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
And with that, I tell everybody happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the week. And with that, I'll pass.
Mr. Hensley?
I also wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and be safe. And with that, I'll pass.
Mrs. Addishell?
I had the pleasure a couple of Sundays ago to attend the Cancer Association of Dark County's Gospel Sing. And those of you that don't know that Mr. Ryan Berry has a beautiful voice. He can sing to the angels. And if you ever have a chance to hear him, it's well worth it. And I want to thank, do what?
How about right now?
It was amazing. I did not know he could sing, but he can. And I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving and be safe and God bless. And with that, I pass.
Mr. Rogers?
I'd like to thank everyone that was involved with the holiday horse parade, the Main Street Greenville, and the committee. Looks like they did a fine job. The weather cooperated this year like it didn't last year, but it came off, and I guess there was a little bit of a hitch with one of the horses, but everything, worked out real well. So and with that, have a happy Merry Thanksgiving.
You're ahead of yourself, ain't you?
I'm pushing it.
Mary Bird.
Yeah, we have a nice Thanksgiving, and if you're out on the roads driving, be careful, and hopefully you don't have any problems that way. I'll pass.
Mr. Whitaker?
One thing that Mayor Woolman left out about the Veterans Day festivities, had a neat experience having a setup where we could talk straight with Kenton Stacy. And Kenton, of course, was wounded in battle, and he's struggling a lot, and he's got a lot more to go through. I just don't know what to say, but the fact that the time was taken to let veterans and Congressman Davidson be able to talk, and I had the opportunity to speak with him too and give him my best, and that was just a really touching experience. And I know that Kenton's mother, he's in Arizona now, is that right? Is that where he was? San Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego. And Ken really enjoyed that, and that was just super that the time was taken to set that up. It was very good. Jeff Francis did the work on
I
that.
got that part out too, and
Yeah.
I want to make sure that Jeff Francis is a big help.
Jeff Francis was the one that set all that up, and didn't he went to school with Kenton, is that correct?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, he
So-
knows the family. And
I just want to call upon each of us here in the city of Greenville to keep praying for Kenton. He's got a long haul ahead of him, so with that, and wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, I'll pass.
Mr. Wright?
I'd like to thank everybody for, that came to the horse parade. It was a great parade, had the most people I've ever seen at the horse parade. One little incident, but other than that, there was a lot of kids there, and it was wonderful. Next thing, when is the tree limb pickup?
Yeah, so I kind of, well, I passed him a note to ask me a question because I forgot to mention that during my report. With the recent ice storm that we've had, just asking everybody a little extra time this weekend, get all of your limbs out to the street. We will be putting out a press release probably the first week of December to let everyone know when we're going to start limb pickup again. But we'll do it like we did the last time. With this storm, there's much more than what we even had the last time. So we'll start at one end of the city and just get through it as quick as we can. We have an ongoing contract to dispose of that brush as even no matter the season. So we will execute that, and we'll be able to get rid of the stuff. But again, just be a big help and help us get all the limbs out to the street. And if you have a neighbor who suffered some damage and they're not capable of doing that, try to provide a hand and help them out and try to clean up the city the best we can. Leaf pickup is ongoing as well. The snow or ice has not slowed us down. It is just the fact that we have one leaf truck and we have an entire city to get through, and it seems like all the leaves came down at one time. So, yeah, so we're in the process every day of working on limbs and leaves, and look like they made a good dent in getting the park cleaned up. I would make a plea that if there were any civic organizations, churches, just a group of folks that wanted to get together to provide some community service, we could use some help in the park. We have a waiver that we need you to sign before you do that, but we would get you in contact with our park secretary and just again implore any help that we could get to pick up the limbs and keep our area looking nice. So thank you.
With that, I'll pass.
President Burkett?
Yeah, I was going to say with the leaf pickup and the limb pickup, now we got the double whammy at a kind of an inopportune time. So that, but our people have been working very diligently, and I appreciate people's patience. Wanted to report, and some of you probably saw in the paper, it's been a number of years ago, but a former police chief of the city of Greenville passed away, Eric Hughes. And just wanted to let the Hughes family know and that we are sending our condolences as the city. He did spend a number of years on the police force and wound up as police chief. So thank the family for permitting that service. That was very, very well done. I wanted to comment on the Veterans Parade, the 100th anniversary of the armistice that it was called. And I was uptown, and it was just really, I don't know why it struck me very much when all of the church bells started to chime at 11 o'clock before the, and you can think that probably on that day, they rang for a long time, just more than a minute, celebrating that. So I think that was a nice touch, and it was a well run, and I commend the band people, the band from the Greenville High School, and also the NJROTC for their participation. Those young people and all people, they about froze to death because that was a very cold day, to say the least, even though the sun was out and it was shining a little bit. That wind was pretty brutal. So thank everyone's patience and everyone for participating in that. I hope you all have a very, very blessed Thanksgiving. We do have a lot to be thankful for. We hear so many negative things, but there are a lot of good things happening too. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adjourn. Call the roll, please.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Powdershell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes. Oh.
Thank you and good night.